Hello everyone, CMeeCraft here, and welcome to the stream. Sorry for being a bit late today, I got caught up in a important meeting. In any case, welcome. We are back with Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. So tomorrow we are still, as for the rest of the week, tomorrow we are still ostensibly attempting Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. I've not yet gotten my console streaming functioning again yet, so hopefully I can get that to work. If not, we'll improvise, we'll do something else, but ideally we'll be playing Paper Mario tomorrow, and then Jackbox on Friday. Again, both of those are dependent on if I can get my capture card working again. If I can't, we'll do something else, like on the PC, but again, hopefully it'll work. And yes, there's hello, Fairy/hello, Jedi, Steve. It's been a bit since we last played this. Let's get to it. Hello. We were in the middle of a trial last time, I believe. Is audio bouncing good, by the way? Different? Good? Okay. Yes, I believe where we last left off was we had just finished, like I think the we just finished our like mid-trial investigation, I think, and now we're back to the actual trial again. We'll see how long we have left. If this is pretty short, we might start the next chapter tonight, but we'll see, I guess the benchmark will probably be if we're finished before about 1 a.m., then we'll probably at least start the next chapter. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. Alright. Alright, it's time. Hello, Cuthbert. Oh, hi, Miss Tamara. You're a lot less jumpy than you were yesterday. I'm glad to see that you're finally getting used to things. So, what did you find in your investigation? You tell Miss Tamara about everything you've learned over your investigation. There's a lot of clues that point to what actually happened. Yeah, I know a lot of details of the crime scene, but nothing about the crime itself. This means I'll have to rely solely on pointing out contradictions in the witnesses' testimonies. If they aren't lying or mistaken, then I'm basically screwed. Not a great plan, but it's what we're going with. Being reactive to the prosecution's moves is a valid strategy. Well, glad for the reassurance there, I suppose. Honestly, I think it was a miracle that you got the commander to cooperate with you at all. Right, you almost forgot. Commander White appears to really have it out for Miss Tamora. Actually, I wanted to ask about that. Did something happen between you and Commander White? Miss McCoy, please proceed to the courtroom with your counsel. Let's go, Tyrion. Trial's about to start. You should go. The judge is waiting. Right. Another secret is left buried between you two. Court is now resumed for the trial of Celeste McCoy. Let us review the proceedings from yesterday. Yesterday, the defense presented some shocking oversights made during the investigation. Yes, I personally saw to it that the investigation was conducted properly this time. I see. I suppose that puts my mind at ease. At yesterday's trial, we found an inconsistency between the crime scene photo and the autopsy report. Because of this, the defense tried to push the following narrative: that a third party must have interfered with the crime scene to frame the defendant. However, the prosecution has discovered another explanation. Because of that, the individual who discovered the body would like to testify as to what he saw that night. His eyewitness account will clear up what actually happened.
Interesting. It was my understanding that the individual in question was to remain anonymous.
Supposedly, this witness was within the gallery of the trial yesterday. After yesterday's proceedings, he felt that he couldn't stay silent any longer.
So that's her plan.
But why would the witness change his mind like that? Perhaps he wants to see justice served. Perhaps he explicitly doesn't. Did Steelwind persuade him? Or is something else happening here?
Very well. Let's hear from this witness. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court.
My name is Reginald Rudolph. I am a chauffeur of the equine variety.
Riz Rudolph, servant. Okay. What is that judge looking at? I don't know. He seems quite shocked by whatever it is, I suppose.
I'm terribly sorry, but I'm unfamiliar with that profession.
He means to say that he is a carriage driver.
Oh, I see. But in any case, it is my understanding that you found the body. Am I correct, Mr. Rudolph?
Rudolph appears to be writing something in a notebook. He writes with incredible speed. His pen only touches the paper for maybe a second before he's filled an entire page.
Mr. Rudolph! Forgive me. I was merely taking notes on the people in this room.
Taking notes?
The witness has a certain compulsion to keep a record of every event that he witnesses. How convenient.
Oh, I see. Then I assume we will receive an accurate testimony of how you found the body.
Actually, I witnessed much more than that. I saw the crime as it was being committed, and I wrote down everything that I saw.
What? That is quite the claim. If that's true, why did you choose to remain silent until now?
We had initially concluded that the evidence alone was decisive enough. Therefore, we saw no need at the time for his testimony. However, those circumstances clearly changed during yesterday's trial. There's no way the prosecution wouldn't leverage eyewitness testimony from the start. Something else is happening here.
Very well. Mr. Rudolph, please testify to the court about what you saw that night.
Witness testimony.
I was transporting a client in my carriage that evening. We were driving by the McCoy Tavern when we heard a disturbance. This occurred at 1:28 a.m. Worried that something was amiss, I walked into the establishment to see what the commotion was about. There I saw the defendant. She was lit by the blue glow of the dining room lights. She had stabbed Flintard McCoy, was channeling magic into her sword. She removed her sword from Flintheart's chest, and as he slowly turned to face her, she stabbed him again in the front.
So she'd have 2 stab wounds then.
She soon realized that I had witnessed her heinous crime. She left the body fall to the ground and fled the scene. One could say that she let the bodies hit the floor, however that song goes. It was quite tragic, really.
Incredible! I'm a fan of that artist as well. If everything occurred as the witness described, then I see no room for debates.
Of course, the evidence has always been irrefutable. You don't remember seeing him when you left to look for Celeste. But it was pretty dark. Celeste, did you see this man that night? No, this is my first time meeting him. I didn't see him when I ran out of the tavern that night. So he has to be lying. Presuming I trust my client. Which I suppose I will. Does that mean he's the one who killed my dad? Right, I can sense emotions. She's pretty angry. She tries her best to hide it, but you can sense her restlessness. It's hard to say right now, but it's definitely a possibility.
The defense may now begin their cross-examination.
Okay. I was transporting a client in my carriage that evening.
Where are you now? Care to state who your client was at the time? They could be a witness or suspect as well. Who was the passenger in your carriage?
Well... The identity of the passenger is irrelevant.
I disagree. This passenger could also be a witness. We would like to know their identity for the purpose of conducting a full and proper investigation as to the circumstances surrounding the death of the victim.
The witness is the one who actually observed the crime as it occurred.
Still, though, should we not have the witness's claims corroborated by any other parties present during the time of the crime? If there was another person at the scene, they may have crucial testimony.
The passenger is under no obligation to testify before the court.
What? He's pleading the fifth? What?
And the kind witness's account of the events is more than adequate.
Judge, can we get the... I'd like to force the passenger to testify. Can we do that? Summon him?
I agree. I see no reason for Mr. Rudolph to disclose the identity of their client.
Also, the judge is 80 years old. I just now realized that. Sheesh, what's he doing on the bench instead of, like, running for president?
The defense must present a more valid reason to do so.
We were driving by the McCoy Tavern when we heard a disturbance. This occurred at 1:28 a.m.
Okay. I'm assuming this disturbance was the argument between my client and her father?
Yes, I heard two voices, one young female and one gruff male. Presumably these were the voices of Celeste and Flintheart McCoy, respectively.
Right, that matches up with what their neighbors heard too.
What did you do after hearing this disturbance, Mr. Rudolph? Worried that something was amiss, I walked into the establishment to see what the commotion was about.
You stopped your carriage in the middle of a job? That is pretty atypical, is it not? That seems pretty abnormal for a carriage driver. Hold on, I'm seeing an error. What? Chat, is the stream working properly? It's telling me my keyframes are off. I'm not even really sure what that means, but... I don't know, it seems to be functioning. What did your passenger think of this?
I had no quarrel with it.
What kind of passenger would be okay with stopping mid-drive?
One who isn't in a hurry, Tyrion. The passenger's thoughts on the matters are irrelevant to his testimony, unless you have any hard evidence to prove otherwise.
Okay, seems good. Good.
Now then, please tell us what you saw in the establishment, Mr. Rudolph.
And I was thinking we gotta find some way to prove that the passenger is not irrelevant.
There I saw the defendant. She was lit by the blue glow of the dining room lights. She had stabbed Flintheart McCoy and was channeling magic into her sword.
Hold on a moment. I thought we weren't the lights off? Broken power cells. The McCoy Inn is outfitted with several lamps powered by artificery. However, the arcane power cell has been broken for weeks and the lamps can't be turned on! I guess I could present that now. I don't know, Chad, what do you think? Should I just present that now, or do you want to see all the pressing going on? I'll leave it up to you, because I think that's I don't think we even need to press further. I think that this is our contradiction. The lights should have been off at the time. There's no way he would have... No, well... And he'll probably come up with some explanation, but... Okay, Chad is silent on the matter. So I'm just gonna be a lawyer and defend my clients.
Objection!
Mr. Rudolph, you testified that you saw my client murdering the victim. And you supposedly saw her casting magic while doing so?
Yes, I could never forget such a grisly sight.
Wasn't this from the preview at the beginning? You mean like the patented Ace Attorney style, we're gonna show you who the first criminal you're trying to put in behind bars is? Yes, yeah, we're still in that case.
That moment was burned into my memory.
I see. Well, it's funny that you say that.
How so?
Because your entire testimony was a complete lie.
What?
Are you accusing the witness of perjury? Surely you know that such an accusation can't be made lightly, Mr. Cuthbert.
My accusation is far from baseless, Prosecutor Steelwind. Take a look at this report. The dining room lights are artificery devices that are powered by an arcane power cell. However, that same arcane power cell was broken during the time of the murder. The dining room lights had no energy, and the room would have been pitch black. The witness couldn't have seen anything, much less a homicide.
Wait, I can explain.
There's no need, witness. Would have easily seen another source of light. Perhaps one of the McCoys lit a candle because of the blackout.
The witness clearly described a source of blue lights. A candle or a lantern wouldn't emit a color like that. Probably more of like a yellow, auburn, maybe a red if you're doing it wrong.
Then the witness was clearly mistaken.
If the witness was mistaken, then we cannot trust his testimony to convict an otherwise potentially innocent maiden. The witness records everything he sees in his notebook. He even remembers the exact times that each event occurred. So why would he be incorrect at such a clear and obvious detail? No. What the witness saw was clearly some form of magic. And due to the lack of power, it couldn't have been artificery. It must have been an arcane spell.
That's it!
What is it, witness?
I must have made an incorrect assumption. Please allow me to revise my testimony.
What do you think of this, Prosecutor Steelwind?
If the witness wants to revise his testimony, then I see no harm in obliging him.
And you, Mr. Cuthbert?
If he thinks he saw something different, then it's only fair to hear him out. He'll tear through each of his lies no matter what he does. Alright, witness testimony, here we go.
I remember now. Yesterday it was revealed that Flintheart was killed using magic. I must have seen Flintheart's daughter channeling a magic spell. The spell's called Mage Blade, am I correct? That's it, the blue glow that I saw must have been created by Mage Blade.
I see. So the blue light that you saw came from the defendant's magic. Mr. Cuthbert, you may proceed with your cross-examination.
With pleasure, Your Honor. Okay, let me take a look real quick at my spells. Okay, it's Mage Blade, it's Transmutation, its incantation is Arcane, Gesture none, duration 1 minute, concentration yes. For the duration of the spell, the edges of this object, usually a blade, become unnaturally sharp, making it more effective at slashing through tough material. While under the effects of this spell, the object emits a yellow radiant glow. The target object must be no larger than 5 cubic feet. Sir, what you saw, I don't even need to press your statements. The lie is obvious, clear as day, emitted with light. The light shown upon this lie is even greater than the light emitted via Mage Blade, which, let me tell you, sir, is not blue, for it is actually yellow. Objection! Mr. Rudolph, you don't know much about magic, do you?
Well, of course not. You're trying to say that I should have recognized Celeste's Mage Blade?
No, I admit that you probably wouldn't know about Mage Blade. But that's exactly where your mistake was.
My mistake?
Mr. Rudolph, if you were aware of how Mage Blade works, then you would know that the spell emits a yellow radiant glow. Which means the blue glow you saw couldn't have possibly been Mage Blade.
This is ridiculous. I'll grant you that the witness clearly remembers seeing a blue glow. But what significance could such a minor detail have?
It's extremely significant, Prosecutor Steelwind. If the witness did see a blue magical glow, then he must have witnessed another spell at the scene.
Preposterous! You don't have any evidence to back up that claim.
That blue light made a large impression on the witness. He wrote it down on his book, and he specifically mentioned the color. There's no way he'd be mistaken about something like that. Unless, of course, it's all a fabrication. But you wouldn't do that, would you, Mr. Rudolph? So what did you really see, Mr. Rudolph? Did you see my client at the scene casting a spell that she couldn't possibly cast? Or did you see another mage at the scene?
Well...
Your Honor, the defense has no right to accuse the witness like this.
Let me remind you that perjury is a crime, Mr. Rudolph. If you are found to have lied in your testimony, you will be prosecuted. Not that I have any power over doing that, and it'll actually be Steelwind over here that gets that gig, but yeah, you know what? It could happen. It could happen if this justice system isn't entirely corrupt. Theoretically.
No, wait, please. Now that is quite enough of that.
Garrick Pierce suddenly steps down from the gallery and walks to the witness stand. He is breaking every possible rule in the book, but no one in the room moves to stop him. Bailiff, tackle this man, please! He is disturbing the honor and sanctity of this court. The bailiff looks to the judge nervously, but the judge just narrows his eyes and carefully watches Pierce. Pierce, meanwhile, shoves the still flustered Rudolph off the stand and begins addressing the courtroom. What is he even doing here?
I will not stand by while you harass my servants.
Pierce, we discussed this. There is no need for you to take the stand.
And what, pray tell, did they discuss?
Nonsense, I have nothing to hide. And if you had done your job properly, I wouldn't need to intervene.
For the first time, Steelwind doesn't seem to have control of the situation.
What is the meaning of this, Miss Steelwind? Who is this man?
This is Garrick Pierce, Your Honor.
That is Lord Garrick Pierce to you, Steelwind. I am the honorable heir to the Pierce noble house. In any case, I must apologize. I'm afraid that these misunderstandings are entirely my fault.
What do you mean?
You see, Rudolph wasn't the one who witnessed the crime that fateful night. It was me. I was the one who witnessed the crime. I had my driver report the body so that I could remain anonymous.
What? Are you saying that you had Rudolph lie for you?
I simply dictated to him what I saw and had him repeat that to law enforcement. It simply wouldn't do for a member of the nobility to appear publicly in court.
Lord Pierce, regardless of your intentions, this is a very clear act of perjury.
But from the look on the judge's face, you can easily tell that he won't face any actual consequences.
I understand and will accept the consequences of that. But I would be remiss if Rudolph's shoddy testimony allowed that girl to escape her crimes. Please let me testify as to what I saw that night.
Very well. This is highly irregular, but I believe the court will benefit from hearing your testimony. However, know that this misconduct has hurt your credibility.
Very well. On the night of the murder, I found myself unable to sleep, so I went on a leisurely carriage ride around Cornhaven. I happened to be passing by the McCoy Tavern when I heard a loud commotion from within the building. Curious, I stopped my carriage and took a single step inside the establishment. Then I saw the scene inside. I saw the defendant stabbing that poor man twice with her sword. Garrick Pierce, he is a member of the nobility.
That means he's probably a mage, right? And he's the only other mage that was there that night. Does that mean?
There's no doubt about it.
He's the only person that could have left a trace of transmutation on the body.
He has to be the mage that we're looking for. Sorry, this must be a lot for you right now.
Don't worry about me. Focus on taking him down.
Got my evidence real quick. I want to see the autopsy. Died for being stabbed behind with a magical blade. It doesn't specifically say he was stabbed multiple times. That doesn't necessarily rule it out either. Okay. Well, I think we may actually have to press him a bit.
On the night of the murder, I found myself unable to sleep, so I went on a leisurely carriage ride around Cornhaven.
That seems like a strange way to pass the time. Not that you believe him for a second.
The witness's eccentricities are beside the point. What matters is that he was clearly at the scene.
I wouldn't quite put it that way, but nevertheless, I happened to be passing by the McCoy Tavern when I heard a loud commotion from within the building.
I'm guessing this commotion was the argument between my client and the victim?
One would conclude that, yes.
As we all know, both of them became quite loud during their argument. It is not unreasonable to say that the witness heard them from his carriage.
Suppose. I didn't even read that. He stepped into the building. He was at the tavern entrance, and that would mean he was here. Crime scene map, McCoy Tavern isn't updated. Okay. You saw the entire scene from the tavern entrance. It would be quite dark considering that the lights weren't operational. Even if my client was using Mage Blade at the time.
Of course, I'd forgotten that detail. Couldn't see what was happening, so I used my magic to illuminate the scene.
Use magic at the crime scene!
Yes, I remember it clearly. I conjured a blue light to illuminate the scene. That same blue light must have been what my driver saw.
I thought that Rudolph didn't witness the crime at all.
If I had to guess, Mr. Rudolph must have seen the blue light from the carriage. He must have made that detail part of his testimony earlier.
That actually makes a lot of sense now that you think about it. Rudolph was so sure that he saw a blue light, it'd be strange if he was lying about that. But anyways, which spell did you use to illuminate the crime scene?
It was the Conjure Light spell.
Conjure Light, school, conjuration, incantation, luxo. No gesture, lasts an hour. Okay. Does require concentration. For the duration of the spell, a mote of magical light appears in the caster's hand. The color of the light is chosen by the caster and can be changed at will for the spell's duration. This mote of light provides illumination up to 15 feet of the caster and no further. Okay. Your Honor, if the witness used magic at the crime scene, then I'd like for his spell compendium to be added to the court record.
I see no reason to invade the witness's privacy over a trivial elimination spell.
Well, I mean, we gotta look in there, see what there is. He might be making little yellow dudes run around for all we know.
I agree. The defense would need a stronger reason to requisition the witness's spell compendium.
Judge, whose side are you on here?
I'm an impartial judge. That is my job.
Fair enough.
Right you are, Your Honor. Your wisdom is truly fitting of your station.
Oh, shut up. Let me look at the map real quick. The map, there we go. So, a square is 5 by 5. So if he was here, like this is 15 feet right here. My mouse is visible in the stream, right? Is it not? Oh. Okay, well, I've got a mouse. Basically, if we look at the squares, there's minimum 4, arguably as much as 6, probably about 5, if we make these half squares safely, which would equate to minimum 20 to 25 feet of separation, possibly up to 60. If he was standing in the doorway, there's no way his illumination could have reached the victim. Now the question is, what piece of testimony do we use this? I think it's actually this one right here. We use the map. Well, hold on. Oh, this is where these games are always annoying. Do we present the map to show that the light, the distance was too far for the lights to go, or do you show the spell to say that oh, but they both prove the same thing? It just, I think we start with the map and then have the light as like our follow-up. It's like, well, this spell says that it can only go this far. Lord Pierce, you said that you illuminated the scene from the tavern entrance. And you only took a single step into the building?
Of course. I remembered very clearly I stood only at the entrance.
In that case, I'd like for you to take a look at the map of the tavern. If we take a look at this map, that would place you right here, where the W is. Am I correct?
Of course I was. I do not know what you wish to achieve by having me repeat that fact.
Well, I find it interesting that you illuminated the crime scene from all the way back there. Considering that Conjure Light only illuminates an area within 15 feet.
What?
The spell's range is irrelevant. We've already established the victim would have been illuminated by Mage Blade.
During his testimony, Lord Pierce clearly said that he couldn't see what was happening. That's why he cast Conjure Light in the first place. However, Conjure Light doesn't work like a normal source of light. It only provides illumination up to 15 feet of the caster and no further. If he had stayed at the entrance, his spell wouldn't have done anything to help illuminate the scene.
What does this mean? Lord Pierce, did you illuminate the crime scene or not?
Well, I can answer that question for you, Your Honor. Lord Pierce did illuminate the scene of the crime. He illuminated it because he was standing right where it happened.
Mr. Cuthbert, are you trying to say that Lord Pierce was that close to where the murder occurred? How would that be possible?
I mean, he could have walked a few steps. Well, there's only one way this scenario would make sense, Your Honor. And that would be if Garrick Pierce was the one who murdered Flintheart McCoy.
Hold on for just a moment. This is absurd. I could have easily used a different spell to illuminate the room.
Oh, could you have? I'd love to see your compendium then. Point it to me. And which spell would that have been, Pierce?
The name escapes me. I'm not sure which one it was now that I think about it.
You idiots.
Well, maybe we can figure it out together. When you relinquish your spell compendium to the court.
What?
This is a clear violation of my privacy. Stalemate, why aren't you objecting to this?
If you had listened to my instructions, you wouldn't be in this situation. You've made your bed, now lie in it.
Ooh, still on our side? Oh yeah.
Dude, you're treacherous! That's enough. It appears that the prosecution has no objections. With everything that has occurred, I must ask that Lord Pierce relinquish his spell compendium to the court.
Garrick Pierce's spell compendium has been added to your notes. Okay. Digitation has been added to your notes. It's an evocation spell, does not require an incantation. It has a snap of the fingers. Duration, indefinitely. Concentration, yes. The caster creates a simple and harmless visual effect around their hand. This effect will last as long as they maintain concentration on the spell. Interesting. Conjure water. Aquiel. Requires an outstretched palm. Indefinitely. Concentration, yes. Causes water to magically flow out of the caster's hand. This water will flow so long as the caster maintains concentration of the spell. That's a really useful spell. Frostwave, transmutation, none. Outstretch both hands, instant, no concentration. Anything caught within range is hit with a blast of extremely cold air. Liquids hit with it will be immediately frozen, or organic life will be immediately enter a stage of hypothermia. Shape liquid, you can transmutate. Point and index, figure out the target. Indefinite, yes. While concentrating on the spell, the caster can magically manipulate up to 10 liters of liquid and form it into complex shapes. At any time, the caster can choose to freeze liquid and solidify its current shape. While frozen, the caster can also choose to make the liquid instantaneously melt. Interesting. Good job, Tyrion. You got his spell compendium. With that, this case is as good as yours. Or is it? She didn't even try to stop you from taking a spell compendium. She wouldn't let that happen just to spite Lord Pierce. She definitely still has something up her sleeve. Your Honor, I've looked at the spells in Lord Pierce's compendium. Conjure Light is the only spell that he can cast that would shed a blue light. This renders his testimony and many of his statements false. You can practically hear Lord Pierce grinding his teeth. Your Honor, Lord Pierce could very well be a suspect in the murder of Floonhard McCoy. The defense argues that this presents enough reasonable doubt to acquit the defendant. Which is, all I need to do. I'm the defense here. I don't need to prove that he did it. I just need to prove that she didn't. I don't even need to prove that she didn't. I just need to prove that it's unlikely that, or that it's plausible that she didn't, I suppose.
I acknowledge that Lord Pierce's accusations are quite suspect. However, I will not pass a verdict just yet. There's much more we need to learn.
What? That's not how it works. We prove that there's reasonable doubt. Should be enough to acquit me, right?
I mean, on paper. In practice, though, in a normal case, maybe, but it's different for this trial. The public won't accept an unsolved homicide involving magic. Unless we can unequivocally prove your innocence, the court will keep drawing it out this case.
What? But that's not fair.
That's just how the system works. Our court system doesn't exist to exact justice. It exists so that the kingdom can save face.
No.
However, the court will be suspending the trial of Celeste McCoy until further notice. That is, until Lord Pierce can be investigated as a possible suspect.
All right. What? What's your issue, Arya? Miss Steelwind?
A possible suspect. The very idea of that is preposterous, Your Honor.
Damn it, you knew she was planning something.
Let's revisit the basic facts of this case, shall we? Floonhard McCoy was murdered using a blade with a transmutation spell active on it. Mr. Cuthbert, why don't you tell me the spells that Lord Pierce knows?
Alright. His spells are Prestidigitation. Conjure light, conjure water, frost wave, and shape liquid. Oh no.
You have realized it too, haven't you? Lord Pierce doesn't know any transmutation cells that can be channeled through a solid object.
Be that as it may, who said the murder weapon was solid? I'm sounding like a madman now. What? That can't be right. You're right. You're absolutely right, Lady Steelman. I couldn't have possibly committed the murder.
I see. With that in mind, that would leave the defender as the only possible killer.
But he was the only other mage there. He has to be the only murderer. But he doesn't know any transmutation cells that can affect a solid object. We can't prove that he stabbed him while casting magic.
Wait a minute. How did he do it then?
She's right. How did he do it? If there are traces of transmutation magic on the wound, then Funard was definitely stabbed by something magical. But none of his transmutation cells can affect a steel blade. Does that mean he used something else?
The defense did cast some doubt on this witness's testimony. Nevertheless, I must conclude that he could not have possibly committed the murder. With that in mind...
But please wait, Your Honor, your objection or whatever. We still can't conclude that Lord Pierce couldn't have committed the crime.
What are you on about? Lady Steelman said it herself, you commoner.
She's the prosecution. It's her job to make my clients look guilty.
I don't know any spells that can be channeled through a metal blade.
Unless your blade was not metal. He's right, which can only mean one thing. You didn't use a metal blade, did you? Hit the nail on the head there, did I? I wonder, how sharp can an icicle be, Mr. Pierce?
What nonsense is this? The autopsy report clearly states that the wound was created by a blade. If he didn't channel magic through a blade, how could he have possibly committed the crime?
Yes, your claim seems quite contrary to the facts thus far, Mr. Cuthbert.
Which spell did Lord Pierce use to commit the murder?
Which spell could Lord Pierce possibly have used to kill the victim?
It's clear, Your Honor. Mr. Pierce, I think it would be this one, Shape Liquid. While concentrating on the spell, the caster can magically manipulate up to 10 liters of liquid and form it into complex shapes. At any time, the caster can choose to freeze that liquid and solidify its current shape. While frozen, the caster can also choose to make liquid instantaneously melt. The perfect crime. He would conjure the water first, then he would shape it into a blade, an icicle or something. Freeze it, stab him, cause it to melt. Not even a murder weapon left at the scene. I mean, aside from the sword, I suppose, but, you know. We'll get to that later, probably. You see, Your Honor, Garrick Pierce didn't kill the victim using a sword. He killed him using an object shaped exactly like a sword.
What?
I'm afraid I don't quite understand, Mr. Cuthbert. Is a spade not a spade? Is an object shaped just like a sword not the same thing as saying a sword? This is like watching that one Vsauce video that came up my feed about the chairs. This is nonsense, this is philosophy, this does not belong in my courtroom, and I should disbar you for bringing such semantics into this.
I'd like for the court to take a look at Lord Pierce's spell compendium. Garrick Pierce knows a seemingly insignificant spell called Shape Liquid. With it, he can control a body of water and shape it into any complex shape he wants. Then he can freeze that liquid, maintaining its current shape. A shape like, oh, I don't know, let's just name something random. A sword!
What? No, it is not. Is it possible that he...
What do you have to say for yourself, Lord Pierce? Did any piercing recently? With ice?
What do I have to say?
Pierce's breathing becomes more frantic. He's clearly not used to being put in a corner like this. You can see his stress and frustration emanating through the eye of Horus. You have him now. Time for the finishing blow.
I'll tell you exactly what I have to say, you commoner! I'm not the one on trial here. Well, because that bastard child didn't know her place. She's just a peasant, yet she still learned the arcane arts. And look at what happened. I saw the murder. I witnessed everything. That girl used holy art to murder her father in a fit of rage.
Did she now? Wait, what am I presenting against us? I saw the murder, I witnessed everything? Am I just like recapping stuff? It's just stuff. This isn't a very specific claim. Are you saying he witnessed everything? Do we just bring up the light spell again? Conjure lights? Well, it could be the conjure light, it could be the broken power cell. And I'm just not quite certain what I'm refuting here precisely. I don't know. I'll give him Luxo, I guess. Maybe. We'll try it. And how, pray tell, did you see everything? If you recall, you testified that you only took a single step inside the inn. But you'd have needed to be within 15 feet to see my client with conjure lights.
This again? If you're going to keep treading on that one detail, then I'll admit it. I stepped further into the inn. There. Case closed. I kept that detail out of my testimony. All because I knew that you would use it to cast suspicion on me. Lord Pierce.
But you didn't just keep that detail from your testimony, did you? You testified the opposite. That makes you guilty of committing perjury.
No, I mean... you miserable wench!
Wretch, rather. Different thing, technically. Perjury by Garrick Pierce has been added to your notes. Nice. And let's not stop there. For your story to be true, you would have needed to be within 15 feet of my client. According to your testimony, my client had just finished committing a murder. Wouldn't she have, I don't know, noticed you?
If you were that close, then you would have surely been close enough to apprehend her.
So why didn't you? Don't you have a duty to your citizens?
Shut up, your dirty peasant mouth. That woman was armed. I had no reason to put my life in danger. She was wielding her sword after the murder. I was terrified when I saw her holding that bloody sword. My life was in danger.
Except she wasn't holding her bloody sword, was she? Because as seen in this picture, the sword was found within the victim's body. She left it within the victim. She was unarmed at the time. But that can't be right, can it, Lord Pierce? This photo of the crime scene shows that the sword was left in the victim's body. How could she still be wielding her sword if she left it there?
What? Oh, damn you! Stillman, why aren't you saying anything?
What? Prosecutor Steelman has lost her usual air of confidence. You find it strange, though. Even when you had the advantage, she always maintained her usual poise.
Lord Pierce, please pull yourself together.
How can I reign calm when this charlatan is trying to frame me? This is a complete travesty of our justice system. I came here to reveal the truth and testify against that criminal. And what do I get instead? Slander! Slander from some lowly defense attorney!
Reveal the truth? Sir, if you were here as a bringer of truth and light in this courtroom, why have you shrouded in darkness with your perjury? You talk about justice, you've committed several acts of perjury to twist the outcome of this trial. You're clearly not acting in good faith. You don't care about justice, you just want to further your agenda. So admit it, Pierce. You created a makeshift sword using shape liquid, and you used it to impale Flintheart. You shoved my client's sword into the wound while the remnants of the real murder weapon evaporated. It was a perfect crime, wasn't it?
Why?
What?
Lord Pierce. My apologies, Your Honor. Just that I realized something absolutely hilarious.
What, has he finally lost his mind?
The defense put forward an interesting theory, but there's one problem with it.
And what's that?
I think you said it yourself.
You shoved Celeste's sword into the wound while the remnants of the real murder weapon evaporated. It was a perfect crime, wasn't it?
You see, it would have been a perfect crime. Because any evidence to support that theory would have evaporated with that frozen blade.
What? No! He's right, if he used an ice blade to kill Flintheart, it would have evaporated by now. Yeah? Then that means
there would be nothing left of the murder weapon. You've spun quite the tale here today. But in the end, you don't have a shred of evidence to support it, do you? You have nothing on me.
Isn't there anything we can do? You become quiet.
Tyrion, isn't he saying anything? Is it really hopeless?
But all it takes is one look at the expression on your face. Any worries she has instantly disappears. Because she realizes the expression on your face. It's the same expression you made every time you defeated her.
What is this? You can glare at me all you want. You won't change the fact that you've lost.
I despise people like you. You twist the system to serve your own ends. You trample on the lives of innocent people. But as long as I'm here, I will never let that happen again.
Naught can remain concealed.
Empowered eye, ooh. What did I just do? Your head feels like it's about to burst. The pain is unbearable and overwhelming. But at the same time, you feel an extreme sense of clarity. As if you can see more than you could before.
I can't believe that peasant pushed me this far.
Once again, you see Pierce's thoughts through the eye of Horse. But this sensation feels different from how it usually is. It's more intense and potent this time. It's almost as if you can do more than just read his surface-level thoughts. Empowered Eye. You've activated the Empowered Eye. With it, you will be able to do more than just see the witness's thoughts. You'll also be able to affect what they think about. Project items into Pierce's mind to evoke thoughts from him. You want to project items that make him think about the murder. Evoking the right thoughts will raise your insight. Once the insight gauge is filled, you'll have everything you need to implicate him. Okay. And I guess let's start with the spell.
After all the trouble I went to, I can't believe that Laura figured out the spell I used. Well, no matter. It's not as if there's any evidence to prove that I used it. Lucky that old fool had that pot of water with him.
Well, that was out of insight very quickly. Buffering problems again? We good? We back? I don't know. I had issues with that yesterday. I'm not sure why. Not sure if it's client or server side or what. Water from a bottle? Wait. A bottle?
Well then.
Oh! It's not the spell, it's not just liquid. It's not just water, it's liquid. If the liquid wasn't pure water, which it was alcohol, if it was from the bottle, right? Or some sort of drink, there'd be trace elements that wouldn't evaporate.
Well then. As riveting as this has been, I believe it's time for me to take my leave.
No! Now, wait a minute, Pierce. Oh, what's that? Oh yeah, thanks for the follow. My apologies for destroying you in this trial, but thank you.
What is it now, you wretch? I'll say it as many times as you need to hear. There's no evidence of a liquefied weapon at this crime scene.
I'm doing well. Tearing this guy's testimony to pieces. Let's see. It's the bottle. The shadowed bottle of lotus juice. If he froze the lotus juice, then there would be trace elements of the drink, because the drink is not pure water, therefore not all of it would have evaporated. You're right, Pierce. If you did use shape liquid on a body of water, the murder weapon would have evaporated entirely.
Ah, it seems you've finally gotten that fact through your thick head. Bravo.
Not sure how long you've been with the stream, but the prosecutor's name is Arya, so that was the premise of the joke. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, Pierce. What if you didn't use shape liquid on a body of water? What if it was another type of liquid?
What are you going on about?
Pierce, shape liquid doesn't just work on water. It works on all kinds of liquids. This shattered bottle contained the liquid that you cast your spell on, didn't it? You show him the picture of the shattered bottle of lotus juice.
That bottle.
Pierce, I found this shattered bottle on the ground near the victim's body. I wonder what caused it to shatter. You must have decided to use any liquid you could find. Luckily for you, the victim was holding the perfect quantity of liquid in his hands. I wonder, Lord Pierce, if we had someone analyze the broken pieces of this bottle, would we find traces of transmutation magic?
You little... That still proves nothing! So what if there are traces of magic on the shattered bottle?
How long have I been streaming? About like an hour or so. Oh, what's this? Lathermore 6, thanks for the follow. Much appreciated. Glad you're enjoying the stream.
You still don't have a murder weapon.
I wasn't finished, Pierce.
What?
You see, the liquid contained in this bottle wasn't water. It was soda!
So, what difference does that make?
A blade of ice made out of water would have evaporated entirely. But a blade of ice made out of soda would leave a puddle of dried residue.
No! Can't be.
I'd wondered why there was such a circular trace of magic under the body. If we checked the outline of that trace, I'd bet we'd find a dried pile of soda residue. That would prove that you used your magic on that soda. There is your murder weapon, Pierce. And that's checkmate.
Bailiff, tell Orem to analyze the crime scene at once. We must determine if this puddle of soda residue exists. The time window to find traces of magic is closing.
So, we had our team search the crime scene for that soda puddle. I really can't believe it, but we found it. In fact, the outline of the dried soda lines up exactly with the outline of the trace of transmutation magic.
Mm-hmm.
Check the broken bottle, too. There were traces of transmutation magic on it as well. There's no doubt about it, someone used magic on that soda.
Is YouTube side buffering again? Look, if the YouTube side is unreliable, I think Twitch is not having the buffering issue, so you can go over to Twitch if you're having a bad experience on YouTube, buffering-wise. I don't know what's causing it. Anyway.
There's no doubt about it, someone used magic on that soda.
I see. Thank you, Orem. Please escort Lord Pierce back to the stand.
What do you have to say for yourself, Pierce?
Humph. What do you think you've accomplished here today? Maybe if I close some other windows, it'll help. Okay, literally the only thing I have open at this point now is the game, OBS, and the specific browsers I'm using to stream with. Alright, well, that I'm using to monitor the stream. Do you honestly think you can indict me? I'm an aristocrat from the highest echelons of our society. That fool of a man was an insurgent. He was a threat to society, and I did my civic duty by removing him.
Objection!
Bailiff, please escort the witness to a holding cell.
Steelwind!
First-degree murder is punishable by execution, Lord Pierce. I suggest you remain silent, lest you incriminate yourself further.
What? You can't be serious!
Shut your insidious mouth. Well, what are you waiting for? Take him away.
Yes, take him away at once.
I can't believe it, we actually won. Tyrion, I...
It's all she can do to hold back her tears. You don't need to say anything. Your face says it all.
Thank you.
You've more than exceeded my expectations today. Miss Tamora! I'll be honest. I realized the murder weapon evaporated. I thought that the case was shot. I can't believe you're able to turn that around. It was just luck. If he had used water, it would have been done for. Had nothing to do with luck. You were able to deduce which liquid he used. And you did it just by looking at a few shards of broken glass. Your skills of deduction never cease to amaze me. That's not exactly true. But Celeste there, you can't tell her about your new ability. You all are
quite lively. There is no need for such hostility. Though I wouldn't expect any less from the Hound of the Eye Taker.
Wait, what did she mean by that? You glance at Miss Tamora, but when she meets your gaze, she immediately looks away. She looks like she's focusing. Almost as if to protect herself from a certain eye.
I must admit, I was hoping to test my blade against you directly. However, your protégé proved to be a worthy adversary.
Thank you?
Is this some kind of game to you? Talk about trials as if they are some kind of competition. Your action almost condemned an innocent woman to death. Our system operates by having two powers of opposition. When those powers are balanced, justice prevails. Make no mistake, your victory today was just our system working as intended. Working as intended. You know very well our system only exists to protect your people. I know.
What?
In any case, it looks like we'll be facing each other more frequently in the future. I look forward to doing battle with you again, Tyrion Cuthbert.
Idiot confessed. Well, I mean, you think the whole system is batting for you. It can make you a bit, cocky. What a strange girl.
Well, that kinda killed the mood, didn't it? Not at all. I think we should celebrate. Oh, what did you have in mind? There's this amazing restaurant in the upper quarter of the capital city. They usually only serve nobles, but they'll let anyone in if they have enough gold.
Wait, do we have enough gold?
Of course we do. Don't worry about the details. I'll handle everything.
Wait, just how much money does Miss Tamora make? And so began my journey into the world of law and magic. Our justice system is rotten to its core, and I'll have many trials ahead. Regardless, I'll keep fighting on and get justice for every one of my clients. Episode end. All right. This feeling, I knew it. His radiant soul has finally awakened. I can't believe it, I've been waiting for so long. I can't wait for the day. I can see his eyes draped in agony. Alright, well that was the conclusion of Chapter 1. So obviously there are other cases. That was case 1. There's up to 5 cases here. So we set out on the stream. I wasn't sure if we were going to do the next case today as well. Here's my thoughts on the matter. We've been having issues with stream stability, both today and yesterday. I was hoping that it was just kind of a fluke yesterday, but it seems to be at least somewhat ongoing. So, and if we were to do another case, we definitely don't have another time to do another full case, not without me getting to bed on time. Or not with me getting to bed on time. So I think that's probably we're gonna call it here. I'm gonna really do some hard looking into why the streams have gotten so unstable all of a sudden. Because like the last few months they've been doing fine. I don't know why this week specifically they've just gone to hell in a handbasket stability-wise. So yeah, that'll be it for today. I'll have to be looking into this. So thanks for watching. As for the rest of this week, tomorrow, 10 p.m., we've got Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door, hopefully. Again, honestly, maybe I should just try uninstalling and reinstalling OBS. Maybe there's just been some corruption in that with the plugins and whatnot, maybe. But yeah, so I've been having issues with getting my OBS and capture card to work together properly. So if I can get that to work by tomorrow, we will do Paper Mario at 10. If not, we'll do something else. Hopefully it should be fun. And then Jackbox Friday 10 p.m. same sort of stipulation there. But thank you for joining me today. Hope to see you at the other streams this week.